Decisions. Coming up on today's Golden State Warriors today, we're going to take a look at three major decisions that are looming for the Golden State Warriors going into the draft later this month and NBA free agency right after that. What are they? Stay tuned to find out. But first, this is why you subscribe to the channel. If you want the most informative, insightful, thought-provoking Warriors content on YouTube that involves you, the viewer, and you, the subscriber, we have you covered. Lock us in today, hit that sub button, and my challenge for Dub Nation, can we get 25 new people to subscribe to today's show? And in turn, you get Warriors content year-round. Thanks for the support. We're going to continue to keep it humming right here on Warriors Today by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. As for those three big looming decisions for Golden State, decision number one that we want to discuss is Kevon Looney's contract. Big decision coming up here by June 24th of 2024 for Golden State, and all signs really point to Looney being cut. Not because of a lack of production or that he's fallen off a cliff. It's mostly because the Warriors are cash-strapped, and by cutting Kevon Looney, they can save a lot of money, and they need to do that in order to build this roster back up to be a serious contender in the Western Conference, because last year, they were not. We all saw it. They were a very frustrating team to watch on both ends of the floor from start to finish in the regular season. Then they flamed out in the play-in tournament against the Sacramento Kings. As for Kevon Looney's situation here, has an $8 million contract for this upcoming year, 2024-2025. Only $3 million is guaranteed if he's released. So in turn here, Golden State would be able to save about $5 million. Last year, his fewest minutes per game, 16.9, since 2019-2020. The good part about this is a lot of that came because of Trayce Jackson-Davis's development. Do the Warriors see Trayce Jackson-Davis becoming the next Kevon Looney? They want to get him some more run to streamline that development. That is plausible, and that's a plan that I can get on board with. And then you coincide that with saving some money. Look, you got to get rid of the emotional factor here, knowing that Looney has helped win you multiple championships, and you got to look forward for this organization. Now, Kevon Looney could certainly return. The Warriors have the option to cut him, then offer him a minimum deal to come back, but he might feel slighted by that. And I'll tell you this, there are playoff-level teams across the NBA who look at Looney's resume, the basketball IQ, how he's played in big games, how they can use him. They'd love to have a player like that on their roster. And I'm talking about teams like the New York Knicks. Isaiah Hartenstein in free agency, he might make $20 million per year. Kevon Looney as a replacement behind Mitchell Robinson for a fraction of that cost. He might cost a fifth of what Hartenstein is able to get on the open market. A team like the Philadelphia 76ers, they have not been able to get the backup center position right behind Joel Embiid. Kevon Looney would be a really good backup behind Joel Embiid. The numbers as far as minutes per game went down last year, lowest since 2019-2020 as we talked about. The production went down a little bit, but I still think that Kevon Looney can play a little bit. And you look at the points per game, rebounding, what he did 2 years ago, a lot of teams across the NBA would take that as a backup center, a guy who can set the screen, roll to the basket. He can help create some switches and some advantageous offensive matchups at the top of the key if you do have a good ball handler to get downhill or for that ball handler to shoot the basketball. A bunch of different ways in which you can use Kevon Looney effectively. For the Warriors, I do think that he is somewhat replaceable. And did the Warriors draft Trayce Jackson-Davis knowing they're going to take TJD and they're going to try to groom him and understand if we have this young player and he turns into the player that we think that he can become, he could end up being that Looney replacement, and that allows us to save some money, get younger, get more athletic, get a little bit faster on both ends of the floor. Should the Warriors cut Kevon Looney to save $5 million? K for keep, C for cut. Let me know what you're thinking down below in the comment section right now. That is big decision looming number 1. Coming up next, 2 more big decisions for Golden State, and we're going to dive into those. But first, we have some Steph Curry shirts on sale right now, 25% off, thanks to our friends at Fanatics, and there are 2 that you can get right now. Summer is here. You can rep your Golden State Warriors, but also support one of the best players in the history of basketball, a man who has changed the way that the game is played all across the world, and with Caitlin Clark's emergence, men's and women's hoops. Go to chatsports.com/Curry t-shirts. You can get the standard Warriors colors here with the classic logo, Nike, and then a Jordan brand shirt at chatsports.com/Curry t-shirts as well. That's kind of that city edition color with the Golden State print, the number 30, Curry on the back. They call them jerseys these days. 2 available, 25% off, limited time only. Hop on that deal right now. Next up, June 28th. Got to decide what happens with Chris Paul's future with Golden State. Paying him a lot of money doesn't seem to make a lot of sense for the Warriors here. Here's what Anthony Slater of The Athletic had to say. All of Chris Paul's $30 million contract is guaranteed on this date. If both sides agree, it can be pushed back. From all indications, Paul has been extremely professional and willing to work with the Warriors through all the possible options that may materialize with this flexible contract situation. If Chris Paul's cool with leaving and the Warriors want to get rid of him, and then in turn, they can save a lot of money, that seems like a potential win-win right there. While it seems unlikely that Paul returns to Golden State, pushing the date back would be for Paul to facilitate a trade, per Mark Stein. So that's another element of this and another option at the Warriors' disposal for Mike Dunleavy Jr. Chris Paul's numbers last year, again, down in what is a crowded backcourt for Golden State. I think that if he were to go somewhere else where his role and fit is a little bit better, in turn his minutes go up, physically, I still thought he looked really good, even though he's been in the league for a long damn time. And look, at this point of his career, even if he's a backup point guard, these numbers will suffice. But if he's a backup point guard on a team in which he fits better on, 12 points per game, 8 dimes, 45% from the floor, and then anytime you're between 37, 40% from 3, that's really solid production right there. You also get a great team leader, a floor general, and a guy who can really control and dictate the pace of the game. Lakers, a team to look out for. I still think Chris Paul has some value for a team in a basketball sense, but also, what if a team like the Los Angeles Lakers is like, yeah, we'll trade for Chris Paul? Does he have some value for a team like the Lakers? Here's some other potential trade partners here, and of course, it depends on what these respective teams decide to do. Chicago Bulls, Phoenix Suns badly need a point guard on that team with how it's constructed. Chris Paul going back to Phoenix would make a lot of sense because last year they literally lacked a good point guard to really get that offense in motion. San Antonio Spurs, you pair CP3 up with Victor Wembanyama. That could be a scary 2-man game. Los Angeles Lakers, as I mentioned, and then the New Orleans Pelicans as well. So be honest with me, what should the Dubs do with Chris Paul? Join the conversation down in the comment section right now here on Warriors Today. We always love hearing from all of our loyal subscribers and viewers. And then big decision number 3 has to be made by June 29th. And that is the Gary Payton II player option for the Warriors. So you look at the timeline here. All of these dates are quickly approaching as we record this show on this beautiful Monday, June 10th of 2024. NBA draft, end of this month, 2-day affair. NBA free agency, right after that. From my view, this is another expensive player who is replaceable, but could have some value for a playoff or championship type of contender because these players are gritty. They're smart. They're players that you want on a title contending team because they're foxhole guys. Payton is one of, if not your top defender at this point, at the point of attack for your defense. But Golden State just has not been able to rely on him due to health. Of course, in turn, that is going to diminish his value. But the games missed here, all teams across the NBA have access to these numbers, right? Or they can just watch Warriors today, which would frankly be a very smart decision. 36, 62, 11, 60, 38. So right here, that is not good. And that is head-scratching. And if you trade for Gary Payton, if the Warriors bring him back, you know what he can bring to the table. He's guarded all 5 positions. He's guarded point guards, shooting guards, wings. He has had to guard power forwards and centers at times. And because of the vertical leap and the athleticism, he's able to alter and block some shots at the rim. He's able to knock down that corner 3, an area of his game in which I think that he has shown some growth with. But when you have bad season, good season, bad season, good season, bad season, with your injury history, reliability, got to be able to count on you. And, there's that saying, can't make the club from the tub. Gary Payton will make the club, but he's in the tub too much. He wants to stay with Golden State long term. And he's had this wild career trajectory where he's never been able to stay with the team for a long time. He's found one home in which he's been a great contributor on as far as the team goes. That's with the Golden State Warriors. Here's what he said about his contract situation back in April. We're going to figure it out. If we can redo it and get it done, that would be great. But right now, this moment, take some time, let this ease out, but definitely for sure, figure it out for sure. I doubt Golden State offers a multi-year extension for more than $5 to $7 million per year. Could see him accept the player option and be used as a trade asset. The man himself said we could redo it. If Golden State can redo it, and maybe you put some player incentives in there and contract incentives where if you reach X games, we can pay you this amount. Some bonuses and those types of structures, that could work out. But under the current construct of his contract right now, I just don't know how you bring him back at that number, which obviously the Blazers overpaid him for. Pick one to stay. Kevon Looney, Chris Paul, Gary Payton II. When we said big decisions, these are big decisions for Golden State coming up. As you venture down to the comment section, don't forget to hit that sub button. Can we get 25 new subs on this video? I may have not convinced you at the start, but hopefully you watch this show and you're like, that was pretty damn good. At least I hope so. And hopefully you subscribe now.